Okay, so this is my second attempt at posting a video blog, because the first attempt just didn't want to upload, and when I hit reconnect it wouldn't work. This is me comparing my composing process to playing sports like lacrosse and sailing. My composing process and lacrosse, the main connection is really the fact that I just throw myself into it and go head first and go straight into it, not worry about like what I'm doing until I really get into it and there's a flow to it and you can actually stop and think. With my composing process, I just kind of throw all my ideas out onto the paper and see where that's going, because if I stop to think about where I'm going to put it, I'm going to lose some of my thoughts, and I want to get all my thoughts out in the first place. It's just like lacrosse. If I'm standing there on the wing, I play long stick midi, which is a defensive position. During the face-off, you don't have too much time to think. You just have to run out there and try to get the ball and pass it up to your attackman. And when you're charging in there, you just go in swinging, you try to get the ball, go for it, and then once the game's in flow, you can start thinking. But if you stop to think during the first couple seconds of a face-off, you're going to be fairly useless. You just kind of got to go in there and see where things go and go with the flow. Another thing is you know, once I start getting into the flow of my paper or the blog for gun control, you really, you know, I will, you know, start thinking about it and organizing things once I get into the body and I start knowing where my ideas are going, and I need to figure out how they flow best and how they work together. That's when I start thinking. It's just like in lacrosse or sailing. You get out in lacrosse, and as me as a defensive player, when the ball's down towards our goal, I start focusing on where's my man, where's the ball. I need to think about, you know, what I'm going to do if we're playing zones. I need to make sure I'm staying in my zone and not following my man everywhere. If I'm playing man-on-man, I need to make sure I'm staying with my man so that, you know, he doesn't get the ball and score a goal and then it's my fault. It's just like sailing. I got to pay attention to the currents and the winds and make sure I take the right course so that when I'm out on the lake, I don't go a certain direction, and then when the wind dies, because on a lake the wind dies a lot, I got to make sure that I'm going the right direction so that the current can bring me back to where I started. And so that's when I start plotting out my course. But when I first get out on the lake, I just kind of start sailing out and trying to figure out where the current's going and where the winds are blowing the strongest. And with my blog post that I'm working on, it's the same way. I've thrown out all my ideas onto some paper. I'm going to figure out how I'm going to, you know, build it into a, you know, decent looking blog to fit the criteria for the project that's due. And so now that I've gotten all my ideas out, I can start looking at it and planning it all out and figuring out where it's going to go. And that's just the way it is with me for pretty much anything I do. I go, you know, head first into whatever I'm doing, and then I figure out, you know, where it needs to go. Because sometimes if you take time to think too much, you overanalyze the situation and you end up messing it up more than you're actually, you know, fixing it. So that's how I plan to work on my blog, and that's how I plan, you know, have worked on my past papers. And that's the same way it is with me with sports, sailing, or lacrosse.